I'm Brittany Trochet.
And I'm Tena Parker. And we are
Uniting Artists. Let's talk all things film industry.
Let's do it. Join us on our journey as we highlight a uniting artist.
All right. Hi, y'all. I'm Brittany Trochet.
And I'm Tena Parker. Welcome to the Uniting Artists podcast. Our guest today is Matthew Rivera. Welcome, Matthew, to the Uniting Artists podcast.
Happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you. Matthew's a director of photography, or a DP, we call them, dedicated to storytelling through the art of lighting and camera movement. And Brittany and I had the pleasure of working with you on what I'm calling the trilogy, because the feature of Homestead was released with 2 episodes. I'm calling it the Homestead Trilogy, which was released December 20th. And you were the DP on the feature as well as the 2 episodes. Had a few of our homesteaders on this, and we always love to hear, like, how did you get connected with them? Because you're in LA, right?
Yeah. So I got connected to Homestead through Ben Kaska, the showrunner. Kaska produced his production company Skies Fall, produced a commercial for General Electric that I was shooting, and I hit it off with Ben and Caitlin. I mean, it's easy to hit it off with Ben and Caitlin. They're the best. If they watch this, then shout out to them.
I know. Yeah. I want to be her when I grow up, and I want my marriage to be marriage when we grow up.
they're just great people, and they love investing in people. They love people to tap into their gifts and their talents. And Ben was always vocal about that. And I remember he had mentioned that he wanted to give me my first feature, which he didn't. I actually ended up getting another feature before, but it's okay. He got me my first theatrical release. I got connected with them, and then he actually always said, he's like, I really feel like you and Ben Smallbone, the director, they're just really good at connecting people. And I mean, Ben's become a good friend and a creative collaborator, and I'm grateful friendship that we've been able to forge together on Homestead. And I like to think we have a lot of similar sensibilities. I'm excited to see how our creative relationship just continues to sharpen over time, because I just know that this isn't the end. There's more to come.
Oh, no, yeah, I agree. And they're just so normal. I took Andrea and Asher, and Ben up to Solitude. We went up on the mountain night skiing one night. They're just real cool people.
Yeah, they're down to earth, and we've spent. I've spent many hours on set with them, obviously, but also just in the color grading process. When we were trying to get the movie ready for release and the episodes ready to be released on the same day as the movie. And we were just in the color session out here in LA for, hours at end. And I mean, they're just good people, and it's easy to get along with them, and it's easy to enjoy time with them.
Absolutely. I mean, I will say it over and over. I've never in my many years in this industry ever met producers, and literally the tribe that they put together for Homestead is very unique, and it was handpicked, and I feel blessed to be a part of it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And everyone attached to it also, they want to be involved in it. Everyone went the extra mile. Everyone's putting their best effort into it. And it's just so cool to see, especially when everyone came back to do episodes 1 and 2 for the series. It was it felt like a reunion, but we were all like, all right, we're in this together. Let's do this. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's give it our best shot. And that was just so cool to see. And I think I definitely think it shows on screen, the love that we all poured into it.
Yeah, I agree. And as you're in LA, it's only been 4 days since I think all the fires have been contained. It's January 7th, 2025 for whoever and whenever anybody listens to this. Were you there when all the fires were going off?
Yes, kind of took me by surprise. I woke up to a slew of text messages asking me if I was okay. People family members and friends that live in the Midwest on the East Coast checking in on me. And then I turned on the news and just looked out the window and saw that it was just gloomy, ashy, red. It actually looked like the beginning of Homestead, which was crazy. I was like, oh no, did we predict something? And then I saw it was fires, and it's just tragic. Thankfully, I'm far enough away. I'm closer to the city. I wasn't really affected by the fires. I didn't have to evacuate. I was never in a evacuation zone. I have a lot of friends and close peers who were heavily affected by it, and some of them lost their homes. And it's just tragic, and to see that happening. I mean, LA's been going through it now for like the last 3 years now, as far as production is concerned. And just to see other family members and friends get impacted by these fires when they were already impacted by the strikes and just everything else, is just really sad to see.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's quite the pile up. Unfortunately, I hope that work can come there, that the message is already being spread and the awareness that a lot of work needs to start in LA. So hopefully, from the ground up, people can kind of collaborate and collectively, get work there started back in LA and revive the city and the spirit of the whole film industry.
There's just so much talent, and you have some of the best film workers in the world are here, and people move here because they love making movies. I came to LA from Chicago because I wanted to make movies, and this for me, this was always the hub. This was the mecca of cinema. I believe it'll bounce back at some point. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the playing field's been leveled, it's never going to bounce back, and we're doomed. And that's one way to look at it. I think that it really just, we're creative problem solvers from the top down. So we should figure out creative solutions to solve these problems, and hopefully the right people are put in place to lead the charge to make that happen.
I love that in our social media. I love what you said.
Yeah, we'll get there. We have to. We have to have faith. That's all we have, Otherwise, we're focusing on the wrong side of it. And manifesting is strong. You got to hold on to what you want to really wish for.
Yeah, and it's like, it takes people like you guys putting podcasts like this together. I mean, just the title of your podcast, Uniting Artists. This is a time where artists do need to unite, especially in our industry, when everything feels so volatile and unpredictable, and we don't know what the future holds. But we can lean on each other and, I guess, give each other hope that it's not going to be a drought forever.
Oh my gosh, Brittany, I'm realizing now you don't know what Uniting Artists is. Like, it's a whole long roadmap that Brittany and I put together to help and give back to our peers. We were on a reality show called The Blocks. We were cast to, they believed in what we're doing. We're creating a multifaceted platform. We've got the podcast, we've got books, we want to create more jobs, want to give back, and we really feel it's part of our responsibility. Brittany's an educator and this idea, and we've been working over a year on it. So it's not just the podcast. So we'll fill you all in later.
Yeah, we have no idea what the industry is going to need in a few months, but no matter what, we really hope that Uniting Artists can just be that landing pad for our industry, and we have all the hope and faith in the movement. So we'll hold on strong.
That's so important because, I mean, not only do we want to get back to work, but we also, I think we owe it to the next generation of filmmakers too. It's like we have to, we have to pour into them, and if this can be an educational or inspirational outlet for them to hold on and have hope. The industry is always going to change, but we're always going to need the makeup artists and the DPs and wardrobe, all that stuff. As long as we keep fighting AI, that's like the big thing, but that's really important.
We're excited. We'll share more as we carry on with it.
Checking out your IMDb, which it's always fun to kind of learn and see what our guests have dabbled in and where their back history has come from. And it's so interesting that you're more than just a cinematographer. You dabbled in a couple things like electric.
Exactly.
I think with experience, it's like you're not so. It just one experience spills over into the next. Ultimately, it just makes me a better filmmaker. Like that's yeah.
We'll just see you on the hair and makeup trailer the next show.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that skill set. Maybe I'm so glad I had all those experiences, and like crewing and running cable up down sidewalks in like city blocks in Chicago to like just being in the cold and you're on the indie features where you're eating cold sandwiches when it's like 20 degrees outside. It's like I've been in the best of it and the worst of it, and it's, you know, it's been good.
I think we all do, and I think that's part of vesting. See if we're going to make it in this circus that we call the film industry. And up on the mountain where I wasn't allowed to go back down, we literally sat on the snow and ate lunch, and they brought lunches up, and I loved all that too. I love the whole collaboration of a film crew. Brittany has a good analogy. What is it about the biology class?
We went to school for all these group presentations, and ultimately that's like our number one goal in our job. It's a giant collaboration. It's a group presentation. And I call it 8th grade biology class. And did we all bring our part of the presentation? Because it really does kind of shake out. And sometimes there's just mishaps and things happen. But, you know, it's all in how you have your adaptability pants on, your yoga pants, and have those solution-oriented mindsets too, just to keep the ball rolling. So
No, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of my favorite aspects of what we do. I love the problem solving side of what we do. And,
Me too.
you know, there's a beauty in being proactive and reactive in our industry. And I think, you know, everyone always leans towards we should prep, we need to prep. The more we prep, the better. And I love that as well. But I also love the stumble upons that happen, or if there's this crazy thing that happens that flanks the entire company, you got to figure out a creative way to overcome it, and it might include having to swap some scenes around, or, you know, try to get ahead of the game. But I mean, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, and there's an aspect to it that challenges every facet of our being, you know, like our creative, our mental, our physical, you know. And I think now it's just, for me, it's fun to just navigate through that. And, you know, at the end of the day, when you look back and you're like, man, we did so much today, we made our day, we solved this. Or, man, it feels like a 12-hour day can sometimes feel like a week in itself. You're like, oh my gosh, that was earlier, that was before lunch, we shot that before lunch. And then you're thinking about all the things that you had to tackle, and all the problems you had to solve, and the thousands of questions you had to answer. And you were saying, you know, like every department's like having each other's back and making sure, you know, we're elevating one another so that it shows up on the screen. And
yeah,
like you said, we do it daily.
yeah.
And Brittany and I are at the end of our day, and we literally like, high five, we did it.
And on the funny side, I actually have a code for those long days. As it transpires, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in second day. Is it third day? Today is definitely fourth day. By the time you're done with those 12 to 16-hour days and everything that you accomplished, it's just mind blowing. And your morning seems like it was a different day altogether.
Yeah,
So.
it is. It really does. But there's like, honestly, there's no better feeling than when you have a really tough day, because I don't know, we'll just bring up Homestead since that was like one of the more recent projects. But I would always look at the day and say to myself, how are we going to do this? Like, how are we going to pull this off? And you know what? We pull it off. Like, we make it happen. You know, we make it to the finish line. And then it like looked good. We're like, oh my gosh, this looked great. This felt good. Everything just kind of fell into place. And there was moments when I didn't think we were gonna make it. And then we made it. And that's just like, it's an awesome feeling at the end of the day. Like, I walk back to my truck and I'm just like, man, what a luxury to have this job. Like, we get to do this. And like, Ben Smallbone is really good at that. He's really good at just like highlighting that one aspect of what we do. He's like, guys, we're getting paid for this. We're like hanging out on a mountain, and it's like we have this gorgeous sunset right here and all these clouds, and we're like making movies and telling stories. Like, let's just like bask in this reality. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why I'm
The
here.
sunsets were the best.
Yeah. And we were on one location, but can we talk about how many moves, especially camera, grip electric? Oh my gosh, up and down that mountain. And I felt bad just carrying my set bags in my chair, but y'all were carrying heavy equipment and, vehicles to help move it. But the whole crew pitched in.
Yeah. Everyone had each other's back. Everyone was helping move stuff. And, you know, it kind of felt, there was days where it felt really big, and then there's days where it feels like really indie, you know, and everyone's helping, you know, unload the side-by-sides and the gators, and then pack it back up. And we were all sharing, I mean, for the most part, there were some situations where it was less than ideal, but at the end of the day, we knew what we said yes to. We knew what we signed up for, and we made it work. And yeah, that location it's a tough location, trying to get from, even though it's like one big location and you're more or less walking away at the end of the day, but man, it's like, and we're like higher elevation in Utah, so it's like just walking up a little hill to like that apple orchard location. Just like, man, I'm winded. Like,
Or the funeral scene where everybody was just like literally on the
oh
side
my
of the
God,
mountain.
yeah, that was crazy, and like those off trails, how everything bottlenecks, and there's only one way up, one way down.
Yep.
I feel bad
Yeah,
for
it's not like we're filming like a docu-series in a mall, that
yeah,
mountaintop really did have a lot to offer. I actually think of that gravesite with all those little, those little crosses. I wonder if the neighbors look up on that mountaintop and think something fishy's
like
going
what's
on,
going on
but
up there? Yeah, yeah, man, I forgot about that
I
just
bet
the
they're still up there. We might have
yeah,
pickup shots.
they have to still be up there. But
Yeah.
I mean, the location is like a playground. That's what it feels like, and it feels like we're on our own Hollywood ranch, and we can choose any area of that ranch to shoot on, and we can. It's really cool to have access to anything there, and say, well, let's just shoot that scene in this area in the woods, or by the X-Tech location where they do the rifle training, all that stuff. So it just feels like we have a really large canvas to play on, and that's as hard as it is physically on our bodies. It looks great on camera.
Exactly. And the options, because we wait 15 minutes in Utah and the weather changes. So
Oh
having
yeah,
different options.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I always feel like the Utah sun just feels like more harsh than here in Los Angeles. I don't know what it is. Maybe we have like a layer of, maybe it's the smog here, but in Utah, since we're a higher elevation, everything just feels extra. The sun just feels extra hard, extra harsh on all the actors. So that was always a concern of mine, but we figured it out.
It is. Brittany took care of them.
Yeah.
You are a young man and you have accomplished so
you.
much. Did you start when you were 2? I don't know, but you're with Zero Gravity. Is that your management
Yeah.
company still?
Yeah. So Zero represents me. Yeah.
Shout out to them if anybody's looking to hire a DP.
That's right. Yeah.
Underneath that, I saw you have other type of managements for your commercial work and stuff, but there was a term I had never heard of, narrative agency. And can
Oh,
you
yeah.
expand and explain what that means to our listeners and give us an example how that works? Because I'm curious too. I Googled it, but I would love to hear your definition.
Absolutely. So I'm represented by Zero Gravity Management, and they represent above the line talent, actors and whatnot. But they also represent below the line. And basically, the agency, I have 2 agents under that umbrella of Zero Gravity. It's my narrative agent, Diana, and she basically handles anything that is scripted narrative, features, episodic, and then AJ handles anything commercial related.
Okay.
It's not just one agent. I mean, they work for the same agency, but AJ will put me up for commercials and handle all the deals on that, and then Diana is strictly just narrative. So anytime I get a script sent to me, it comes from Diana. If I'm up for a commercial, it comes through or goes through AJ.
Had you heard of that, Brittany? Narrative agent? Yeah. So again, learning every day.
Yeah. A lot of DPs, maybe if it were a more boutique agency or rep, they would likely do both, but commercial agent and a narrative agent. And it's nice that it's a little bit more compartmentalized that way. Diana's been great. She's like, I think I have the sweetest agent in Hollywood. She's super sweet. She's so easy to talk to, and I always tell anytime I connect someone with her, I'm like, yeah, you're gonna talk to Diana. She's the sweetest person you'll ever speak with on the phone. So if she watches this, hopefully that she's blushing right now because she deserves it. So
That's awesome. Because she's basically representing you, and to have a great personality and being able to talk to anybody that's representing you too. So right on.
yeah.
Awesome. Shout out LA said in a magazine article that your portfolio was developing while your technical knowledge was expanding as you were taking jobs in different departments. What's your number one piece of advice that you would give to someone that is looking to be a cinematographer based on the journey that you have had?
Our industry is changing so much, and I feel like, you know, becoming a DP, or if you want to be a cinematographer now versus what it was even just 10 years ago, has changed. Um, just the pathway, I like to think that I came up through a more classically trained way of doing cinematography. And, when I was coming up, we had smaller cameras, but it's not like how it is now, and it's not as accessible as it is now. And all of this has happened in such a short amount of time. I would say, 10, within a decade. Now, like, you could buy some of these cameras at Best Buy. Some of the cameras that we're using on Homestead, you could literally buy at Best Buy. So everything is just super accessible. So I would encourage anyone that's trying to break into the industry and that wants to become a cinematographer to always study the way it was done in the past. Always study the old school techniques, find inspiration, draw inspiration from old school technique, classical films, through legendary cinematographers, and figure out creative ways to marry the new standards with some of the old technique. And I think that would be a good way to stand out. I've always, I'm not, like, I've worked for free on so many projects. I've shot so many projects for free. I've given myself to passion projects, documentary, short films, not necessarily because I could afford to do it. It was more that I couldn't afford not to do it, because those were opportunities that eventually led to getting the paid work. I was able to make mistakes. I was able to fail. I was able to learn, test out different tools, different lenses, different cameras, different lights, and figure out ways to connect with different directors and film crew. So I would encourage anyone wanting to become a DP, just position yourself to where you're always able to shoot. You're always able to film. And, don't think you're above anything at the beginning. Like, if you have to shoot like a 2-day little short film for free, do it, because that 2-day little short film is going to make you better and prep you and prime you for the next film. So always be open, always be hungry to do what you got to do to turn the dial and hit the right notes and become the filmmaker you want to become. And over that time, you'll discover the aesthetics. So your personal aesthetic, but with all the tools accessible now, it's like there's no excuse. Like, you can make things look good on your iPhone. You can make things look good on any little, like, photography camera. It's all there. So just connect with people, connect with other cinematographers of various experiences, glean from other filmmakers who are just as hungry as you are and want to produce quality work. And I think that that roadmap will get you to where you want to go. And because you're going to grow with those people, you're going to learn it's going to be trial by fire. You're going to fail together. You're going to succeed together. And I think that's what it takes. Like, this industry has never been, I think one thing about this industry that will never change is that it's not a one-man show. Like, it requires a collective. And whether you're using the biggest and baddest camera or you're shooting on your iPhone, like, it's going to require a team. And the sooner you can find your people and the people who you're inspired by or that you can inspire, like, that's the best way to go and break into this business, regardless of your department. But
Yeah. No, totally. I agree. I feel like some of those parallels lined up exactly with hair and makeup as you were speaking. Go back to the old fundamentals. You don't like rolling perm rods and old, shampoo sets, but how many times do we have to flash back into a little time period and the silhouette is so perfect, or, this or that, and have your new take on the new thing, have that spinoff, have good mentors around you, and just start building your portfolio. Say yes, practice, dabble, get into everything. So it's kind of cool. I think you're dead on when you say that's what we say for cinematography, but I think it really does land in every department.
Oh my gosh, like, I've done so many freebies, and the freebies, especially in Chicago, when I was coming up to grip and lighting, I worked on freebies all the time. And, I had a little day job. I was working at the Apple store. And but those freebies connected me with the people who that eventually got me paid work and got me into the union in Chicago, to the local 476, because I connected with the right people that were wanting to succeed. And in a place like Los Angeles, the market is so vast here, and there's so many communities that you can find and just latch onto, that it's you have to go after it, and volunteer your services. I've heard stories of guys who have volunteered their services with AFI students, and they weren't even students at AFI, but they crewed and they worked on those AFI films. They were dolly gripping on AFI projects, and then that led to paid work because those AFI students graduated and eventually got paid work and brought their people on, people that came up with them, So that's you gotta be okay with working for free sometimes. I hate to say it, but
It's true. I was thinking that, just like Brittany was, the foundation of hairstyling, and it's old school, and you need to know it if you're going to be in this industry. But you're like, you can buy that camera we use at Best Buy. And I was thinking, like, a sewing machine. Yeah, but not everybody can work that sewing machine. No, everybody can work that camera, like you. And the artistry of, having the eye. I'm looking at your lighting. I'm like, oh, look at your beautiful lighting that you're on right now. So it's really cool to have that analogy. Thank you for that.
of course.
That process of thinking and advising for others. That's really cool. I love that you have that mentor heart in you too. You and I know this very well. Having a relationship with my DP and the camera department is so important. Like when we were shooting Tyler and Olivia in that scene, and her hair normally was on her face, and I needed to, I'm like, do you need, and I asked you, I'm like, do you need that cheated more so you don't have to bring the camera around? It'll help the lighting, it helps her look better, and whatever you and Ben were designing. And being able to have a conversation, approachability. You sat next to me at the production meeting on the movie, and you introduced yourself. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so open and lovely. And to have a DP like that, it helps the collaboration, it helps the flow of when we're filming. And I feel safe and able to, watch the monitors, but we can't always see everything. So having an operator even that has the eye on the camera and can tell me if there's a lace wig that it's starting to come off, or who knows, a leaf fell on them that I didn't see.
Yeah.
Can't tell from my monitor. Love that collaboration with the camera department. It is so important, I feel. And I just love that you and your team were so approachable, and we were able to work together that way. So much can happen between, especially as we're talking from film to digital. The director feels they can, and of course it's their prerogative, but they'll go right into it. Do it again, one more time. Can we do it another time? And meanwhile, the tears have dried up. Brittany needs to, blot the sweat, and I need to, fix the hair that's now stuck to the cheek or something. And being able to, again, catch somebody's attention or be able to have that information. And that sometimes even I've had the camera people go, hey, Tina, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. I literally just walked away from them and something changed. So I love that collaboration.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's so important. You guys, production design, you guys make us look good, we're filming your art as well, not just the performances. And I think it's really important, especially as a DP. It's like you have to be approachable. You have to be easy to have any kind of conversation about, how, like, what's the reflectance value on that skin tone, or maybe there's a not the best, or like not a flattering type of sheen under the eyelids, and maybe they're a little too glossy on their T area. Who wants to work with someone that's not approachable? That like we're in this business to be collaborative and to work together. So, you guys make us look good, and if we can protect your work and make you guys look good, then the best way we could do that is through communication and at least giving you a heads up, and then when we miss the mark, then we have to apologize. And I remember I went up to you, like, there was a hair situation, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
I wasn't going to
But-
bring that up. We don't need to talk about that.
No, we don't
Again,
need to talk. We don't need to get into details. But like once it happens, when the damage is done, you're like, oh my gosh, like we have to make sure that everything's good, because it's like I'm not going to go out. I'm not in the business to go out of my way to sabotage any department.
I never felt that.
And
But-
if it's unintentional and I recognize it, I was just like, because I remember I was talking to Andrea and I was like, oh my gosh, I owe Tina an apology. She goes, why? And I was like, because I told her something and it wasn't true. And I felt so bad.
No, but the blink happens, I'll say. I don't know. It happens. And that, I can't control every circumstance either. I might have done something that might have affected Brittany, or, we all just got to stay in a fluid state of mind in our industry. And, and I don't even know the full story. It could have been, they wanted the camera over here when it was planned to be in a different place. So I know that. And I don't know you that well, but I know you well enough to know that you're not that personality either.
No.
In any way, because you understand we're all making each other look good. And
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, there's that margin of error. We do our best to try to keep that margin of error as small as possible. And we're making decisions so quickly, and we're being asked the questions, and you have to, if you didn't have the luxury to fully prep everything that's happening on the day, you pray to God that you're giving everyone accurate information. And sometimes we do miss the mark.
And it's like you were saying, if you can have those conversations and those communications, man, we can go by leaps and bounds. But it's really being able to have those conversations. And I feel like if we can take our ego out of it, it's either just simply working or not working.
Mhm.
And it just becomes a little bit more solution oriented, and it takes the artist out of it. It takes, any weird judgment out of it. If we can all have more of that mindset, it would be more healthy for us to have those conversations. And I've always kind of thought it was either working or not working. So I really don't take a lot of offense. But yeah, mistakes happen, challenges happen. I like to say hair happens. So yeah, just as long as we're willing to have those conversations, and you are. And I think that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
That's more than half the battle.
But when people are coming at me with questions or concerns, that's an indicator that they care.
Yeah.
So, I want to listen. I want to hear what they have to say. And again, if it's going to make it a better image, if it's going to make it a better story, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not the director. I can't always approve it, but sometimes, as a DP, we do have that luxury on the more indie stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what it's about, right? We got to have each other's back.
yeah, and I was able to talk to Andrea, and I know they want everything to look good. So I wasn't that upset. I'm just trying to problem solve before problems happen. And so I'm, trained to think about things that might be a problem. And so that's why I,
Yeah, it was like one of those moments, when you're laying, you like lay your head down at night on your pillow, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I totally gave the wrong information. Like, what am I?
I didn't even think about it. I'm like, Andrea's got my back. They're going to make sure this is edited right. I'm not worried about my work. And,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all just trying to do our best and lift each other up, as you said, elevating each other. And it's
right.
such an incredible group.
Unite pretty soon, like who knows what's on the horizon, but
I'm
hopefully
hoping
we'll-
for May. Why not? Let's
Yeah.
just move it all up. So are you looking to produce your own shows, or direct, write, or all of the above? What's next on your bucket list, and where you'd like to see yourself?
Man, well, cinematography is my true art and joy. I would love to do this forever. I don't really know of many cinematographers who retire. I think, they're more so forced to retire just out of age, but for the most part, they do it for a long time. So I see myself sticking with cinematography, but at the end of the day, I love telling stories. I love filmmaking. And if I were to ever, I wouldn't rule out directing. I think that if an opportunity came knocking on my door, I would welcome it. I wouldn't say no. And I think with that would come the producing aspect of it. So in my heart of hearts, anywhere from directing to producing, anything that's more personal to me, I would love to have something or explore something within the next, 5 years. Um, but cinematography is always going to be number one. So hopefully we continue Homestead and it leads to bigger and better opportunities, in the next several years.
Yes, indeed. I've got some treatments I'll send you.
Yeah, and everyone that I've taken to see it has loved it. I've had clients cry because they're so proud. It's so beautiful. It's so cute. But yeah, I think we really pulled it off, you guys.
I agree. And my client today said her and her husband went to it and her husband didn't want to go. And, rah, rah, rah. And I gave him, I bought like 30 tickets to give out. And so I gave them a couple and he was he's like, he didn't understand how he was so moved by it and thought provoking. And he was so glad that they went to see it. And so I was asking her, I said, did you guys see the 2 episodes that were released with it? And she didn't. I'm like, oh, you got to see those. I said, it continues. And I feel like it gets richer. We're more connected with the characters and, your beautiful photography, everything. And that was such a crash course, those 2 episodes, as we all know.
I'm really proud of those 2 episodes. And I'm proud of what we did. And I feel like we all went in with a more refined approach. And again, like it wasn't easy. I'm not I think we can all attest to that. There was nothing about episodes 1 and 2 that was easy, but the results, there's heart in the results, and that's what I'm most proud of.
So Brittany lives, what, an hour to an hour and a half away?
A true hour.
Yeah.
But an hour and a half, 2 hours with traffic.
Yeah. And she was getting no sleep. She was I'm not going to say on auto drive because
fumes.
So creative. No.
Just fumes. Sleep fumes. We all get there at the end of a show. It's fine.
The LA premiere for Homestead, you brought your mom as your date.
Yes.
That was so sweet. And and it's just awesome that she was able to be there. I don't know is she living in Chicago still?
No, she lives in South Carolina, so she's on the other side of the country. But it's funny because when I hit her up and I asked her to go, she's like, "Are you sure? Do you have a date?" And I was like, Mom, you have to be there. You're like the reason I'm here. Let's you gotta go.
Aww.
And all growing up, she would always joke about. She's like, "One day I'm gonna walk the red carpet. One day one of my kids are gonna take me to the red carpet." And yeah, that's what happened that night. She was so overwhelmed, overjoyed just the entire night. And I knew she was going to have a good time, but I didn't expect for her to have as good of a time as she had. She loved it. And she got really, we were getting ready to go onto the step and repeat, the red carpet. And she got really emotional. She was like, "I'm so emotional right now." And then she brought it up again. She's like, I knew I was going to walk the red carpet. And she's like, "I knew it was going to be you." She's like, "I'm so emotional." And I was like, "Well, Mom, you can't cry right now because we're about to take pictures." So,
I'm going to cry.
But yeah, I had to have her there. She's played such a huge role in the creative journey in my life and my siblings' life. And, we're an art family. All my siblings were all artists to in our own right. And she cultivated that. She saw it in us at an early age, and she ran with it, and she made sure we would always do crafts with her. She would buy us coloring books. She made sure we colored in the lines. She made sure if we were going to start another page, we had to finish the page. And my brother's an illustrator, my sister musicians, and my sister Megan, she's a hairstylist. She's in that world. But yeah, if I didn't take her, it would have been a disservice to her. And I wanted to honor her by bringing her to the premiere. And because I'm just the fruit of her labor as a mom, and she's poured into me. So hopefully it won't be the last premiere I can bring her to. But I was able to bring my brother, my sister, and sister-in-law. So it was a win for the family. and it was super cool to experience that with them. And yeah, I'll never forget that. That was just like it was a surreal night, and yeah, awesome time. It was just so good.
I'm really like about to cry. I'm a second generation hairstylist for film. I don't know if you know that. So I understand where that's coming from, and I owe her everything, and she would be my date if I had an award show or something for sure.
Yeah, and I think, my parents, they raised us young. My mom was 23 with 4 kids, and so she never really got to pursue her passions. And I think that, and my dad as well. So they really encouraged us to like go after it. Like, if you're going to do this, if you want to be a filmmaker, if you want to be a cinematographer, then you have to give it your all. Like, you need to survive doing this. Like, don't be mediocre. Like, just do your best and go after it. And so they really pushed that in all of us, all 4 of us. So yeah, again, it was like a no-brainer, so.
I love that so much. I told you after I read that article, I'm like, I liked you before, but now I love you. Now I even love you more, Matthew.
You guys are awesome.
You're awesome. No, you're awesome.
I would love to know, what's your life motto or your number one like words to live by?
That's great. My life motto. Oh my gosh. Well, I quote Proverbs 27:17 a lot, and that verse in the Bible talks about ironing, sharpening iron, and how that's what I'm paraphrasing, but that's what we're required to do as friends. So, as friends and as brothers and sisters, we're required to sharpen each other. And I truly believe that. So my life motto is like, I love to sharpen my friends. I love to pour into my friends. I love to pour into the people that I love. I love to encourage them. I love to build people up. And I want to live by that for the rest of my life. I always hear stories about cinematographers who are tornadoes on set, if you will, or devils, or they rule with an iron fist. And I don't ever want to be perceived as that type of filmmaker. I want to be perceived as a cinematographer whose work speaks for itself, but the quality work that is produced comes from the act of sharpening your crew in the best ways possible, pouring into them, making them feel empowered to do the thing that they love to do, making them feel like they have a creative voice, and they're not just there to just labor. And so yeah, my life model is to just sharpen my friends.
I love that. A lot of my friends, I'll say, I love your water, love your water. And it sounds kind of bizarre at first, but we're like mostly water, and that needs a lot of love. And there's been the rice experiment. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they took the same pot of boiled rice and they put it in 2 jars. And on one jar, they said, I love you, and wrote it on there. And the other one, they said hate or something like that. And within just a couple days, the loved one started to turn amber and ferment and, start to go through the fermentation process. And the hate one turned black and gray almost immediately within days.
Wow.
And so your words really do mean a lot. Like, I've always put, since I heard that, like my manifestations, or if I just need a few positive words, I'll write it right on my water bottle. But I feel like that really comes down to sharpening your friends and sharpening others, because it really is lifting up one another. And on a molecular level, that's our water. So just loving people's water. There's been times I've even gone into the grocery store and just tried to bless all of the produce. Just like, I just give people what they need, whether it's the vitamin C or a check in the mail, but I think that that's a really lovely mindset, and I've never thought of that or the Proverbs take on it, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important because we're surrounded, by the same people for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week for however many months, and we have to make it enjoyable. And I mean, and this goes beyond the realm of filmmaking. This is just day to day, just being kind and loving on people and encouraging them and making them feel welcomed and making them feel like they have a voice. And people want to be heard. So especially when you have a conversation with someone, just like when you leave that conversation with that person, did that person feel empowered, fulfilled, or did that person feel drained or belittled or overlooked? Or maybe, when you were having that conversation, they felt like you were preoccupied so all of those things, I think that when I talk about sharpening someone or iron sharpening iron, it's just like, I just want to make sure that when I have conversations with people, when I interact with people, whether small talk or in-depth conversation, that they enjoyed it. Like it was a pleasure to have the conversation. It was fun. Maybe I made them think. Maybe I challenged them in a good way, hopefully not in a bad way. But there was fulfillment behind it, and I think that's always the goal. Whether it's like a coffee date or like a passerby kind of conversation.
Yeah, I love that. I can't wait to see you on the TED Talk.
Okay, well,
Absolutely. And I just to kind of piggyback on all that, I think being able to love others, we got to love ourselves more, and then we can have that overflow into others. And the do unto others golden rule and all that. If people don't love themselves, they don't treat other people as well. And so I really believe in how we talk to ourselves, because somebody goes, "Oh, I'm so ugly, I'm so," and I'm like, you don't talk that way, don't think that way, love yourself. And when we learn to love ourselves and take care of ourselves, we can be more of a better cornerstone for our family or our department. And like you said, just knowing that the words you're speaking to somebody could enrich their lives, or thought-provoking words, that you're that evolved and thinking is so beautiful. I love that about you. Again, you just went up another notch.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm sure you guys, especially when the cast shows up and they sit in your chair, I'm sure you guys become pseudo therapists in some respect on set, or maybe some of them are talking about they're pointing out certain flaws about them, or they see in themselves, and you guys are like, what are you talking about? Like, be kind to yourself. Imagine the type of conversations that you guys have on the start of a day on a film set, especially at when you have pre-calls at like 5 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, we really do help set the tone for them. We try to make it a joyful, and also reading the room about, somebody's got some heavy dialogue or emotions they have to drive up. We're not going to be having some hip hop going on, understanding and reading that room. But Brittany's, even just her touch and the way all the boys were spoiled. They had their little golden iPads, and they were, because they don't need that much makeup, and we're making them dirty, or Brittany is. But yeah, I thank you for that recognition. We really do. And sometimes it's just knowing also to just let us be a sounding board, because they didn't have somebody to say something to, and they just needed to release it, because we aren't psychologists. I think we should be certifiable now. But understanding that part of our job, it really is important to us. And we work together in that, and to create a climate that feels safe. And
yeah, well, that's super cool, because the fact that you guys have that etiquette and you put up you have those safeguards, because I feel the same way. I always tell the camera department, hey, when talent shows up, we need to make sure that they feel safe, doing what they have to do in front of the lens. So, if everyone else is stressed out, if everyone else is freaking out and there's chaos, like, we are the calm in the storm. Our department, like, we are cool. We're camera, we're cool, right? So we gotta make sure that whoever the actor is, or the talent is in front of the lens, that they feel like they're in good hands. So who knows, by the time they leave your makeup chair to the time they get to the camera, like, what happens in between, we don't have any control over that. But it's cool to hear that, at the start of their day, like the starting line to the finish line, like in those aspects, there's some safeguards that are put up.
yeah, we try.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's nice for them to just know that someone's in their corner, whether we're waking them up with just a quick little scalp massage and getting that product in there, helping them set that intention. But, we're in show business, and the show must go on. And unfortunately, like, hard things happen in our lives no matter what. And we've had talent and actors in our chair that, just had a loss the day before and lost a family member or whatnot, but they've got to get through all those scenes. And so it's a very interesting place to hold that space for everyone. But I do think it is important work. And like Tina was saying, sometimes we set the mood with certain music or this or that, but it's something that I'm grateful to have in my life. Every moment that we can take to just be that day player, it's what we do.
It's true. I actually was, Brittany's heard this story, but I actually told this story when I interviewed with the Bens and Andrea that I was interviewing for All Mankind. And I had a room full of producers and writers and two people on computers. And they said, so how do you run your department? And I kind of looked around, I'm like, joyfully. I said, I really love what I do. And and afterwards I left like Bart Simpson, like, no, like they wanted to know that I stayed on budget and that I know how to break down a script. But I got the job. So I loved when I interviewed with the Bens, I told them this story and I said, but I wake up with joy and I know that's a gift in itself. And, having a great comrade like Brittany and our relationship and our understanding and being able to help each other. My ADHD brain, if it hasn't slept, is more challenged. And I can say, hey, you guys, I'm having a hard time today, and we can cover each other. And it's no blame. It's not, throwing anybody under the bus. It's so beautiful and important to have that camaraderie in our trailer or our garage where we were working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, a lot of film podcasts tend to discuss like technique or like, how do you stay under budget? How do you, know how to light a set or how to light a room? But, I like conversations when it comes down to like set culture and establishing an atmosphere with crew dynamic, leaning on your peers. I've had situations where, I'll like on Homestead, I would look at John Williams, the Steadicam operator. I'm like, man, I don't know how we're going to cover this scene right now. Just like, and he's like, well, and he'll give me ideas and then, I'll piggyback off that. And by the time we rehearse it, it's dialed. And we feel good about it. So just to have that ability to talk about set dynamic and how you, as a department head, we don't always have the answers, and I always tell people, I'm like, look, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to say, I don't know, figure it out. We're going to figure it out. So I think it's so important to talk about just set dynamic, set culture, how you run a set. And I like how you said you run it joyfully, because at the end of the day, like, you got to know what you do, right?
Yes. And we try. And I'm just thankful for the camaraderie with Brittany and I, and it's been I just met her. I don't know if you knew, but I just moved back to Utah in 23, and I don't even know how many days we worked together, Brittany, on Grizzly Night. And she impressed me on so many levels. Like, if you need anything, her set bag has it. I guarantee you can test her next time you see her.
It's like the Mary Poppins bag. You're like, I need a lamp.
I do.
It out, and it's like, a floor lamp. And
Always the bag lady, never the bag. I got it.
That's great. That's funny. That movie, what did you say? It was Grizzly Nights? I think like
Grizzly Night.
Like everyone from Grizzly Night just went into Homestead, like on the feature right afterward.
But we had just met. After I got the script, I thought someone else was going to do it with me, but I needed somebody that was really strong and could help with hair and makeup. And Brittany is that talent where she is equally. We all, like, I do hair and makeup, but I am hair's my forte. She can do both with such artistic dynamics, and it's sickening. No, I'm just kidding. It's beautiful, and I love seeing it.
That's awesome.
I have one more thing to bring up. I know this is a long podcast, y'all, if you're all hanging on here, but I saw some of your still photography, and I'm so drawn to black and whites because of the mood that it instills in you. I feel like it's more thought-provoking, more like an emotional impact, at least with me when I look at a black and white, because we don't have color distracting us. And it just speaks to me differently. Have you done a black and white film and I'm just not aware, or do you want to, or is that something that intrigued you since you've done the beautiful black and white stills?
Well, thank you. I've not done a black and white. I haven't done a black and white film probably since film school. But I would love to do a black and white film. And I agree. I think there's something special about black and white, the simplicity of it, and how it just kind of cuts through layers of distraction and goes right to the emotional beat of what whatever that image is trying to evoke. So yeah, that would be a dream to do a black and white film. That would be super fun. And yeah, I think as far as the photography aspect of what I do, I just do photography for fun. I don't do it commercially at all. It's really just photography is more or less my therapeutic creative outlet. It's like I don't have to deal with client. I don't have to deal with anyone. I don't have to deal with having to answer questions. I just go out and I just do it, and it's just what I do. And most of my black and white is on film. I try to, most of my color work is digital. Most of the black and white's film, because just black and white film is just special and unique and timeless. And I always try to, that's always the goal, is trying to take a photo and make it feel timeless. Like there's no certain timestamp to it, and it just has an emotional, maybe one day I'll do a black and white film, maybe that might be in the cards, or if I don't DP it, maybe one day I'll direct my own black and white film.
Yeah. Manifest it, baby. We have so much information still to talk about, and we're going to need to make this podcast a part 1 and part 2. So stay tuned for part 2 that will drop next Wednesday as we continue with Matthew, our DP for Homestead, and the extraordinaire person that he is. Stay tuned. See you next week. We will tell you more and share more amazing stories.